What's up, everybody? This is Aya. Thank you so much for joining me on my channel, A Fairy Good Life. I have released the first episode of Trigger Happy, and I don't have a schedule yet. I don't know when I'll be uploading, but if you listen to my podcast, you know I can run my mouth. If you listen to my YouTube channel, you know I like to talk. I might not always like sound the most confident because I I don't necessarily like to share like what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling, and I have that Virgo ascendant thing going on where I really feel apprehensive about like sharing myself, but then my purpose is to share what I'm thinking, to share my journey and um how to teach people how to heal and stuff like that. It's really interesting the games that the universe plays and how she would like for us to how she wants to experience herself through us. And so we just go with it and we are obedient, or else we get yelled at by our guides all day and all night. Okay. Um so we're going to talk about how the south nodes in Sagittarius in the collective is not necessarily your south node. My south node is actually in Capricorn. But right now, the collective south node is in Sagittarius, which means that at like 29 degrees, it just entered into the north node just entered into Gemini last year, I think. And the north nodes are always retrograde. So that's why it's not at like 1 degrees. It's starting off at 29 degrees. It just came from what sign, guys? Cancer. Those are for all of you guys who are studying astrology. Just thought I'd give you a guess what. So we're going to look at the eclipse, which is conjunct the south node. The lunar eclipse will always be close to the south node, and the solar eclipse will be close to the north node because the eclipses are calculated by using the south and the north node. Okay. Now, if you have your first house, okay, well, let me explain this. The nodes are about letting go of past karmic, kind of like overly, overly used. It's an excess of energy when it comes to the direction you've been going in. The south node is a direction that has been comfortable for you, but it no longer serves where the direction you're going in this lifetime. So you'll feel comfort, but also doors will be closed in that area. Like you'll try to enter into the door of your south node this lifetime, and you'll just be like, well, how come I can't do what I want to do? Well, maybe what you want to do is not what you're supposed to be doing this lifetime. Is a labyrinth. It can get kind of complicated like that. But that's how it is when it comes to the nodes. Okay, so your south node is an excess of energy that needs to be released. And eclipses are about releasing energy and going on to a new path. But it might just happen in like a dramatic way. It might feel very intense. You might come across some people and energies and places and things that make you have a dramatic reaction, a chaotic reaction, so that there can be an ultimate release onto your new path. Because sometimes the energies get all stuck and stuff, and we can think about them and write about them and talk about them until we're blue in the face, but it seems like they still don't really go anywhere. Well, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for you to have that release that you've been longing for. So I recommend on days like this, and maybe the next few days if you can't fast today, I recommend a fast, because fasting also quickens energy. Any thing that you can do to show the universe, it's like a prayer that you mean business, and that you are going for it. You're going after what it is that you've been asking for. You're going after that release. You're going after the new path. All right. So let's look at the South Node and how it would affect the South Node in Sagittarius, and how it would affect someone who has an ascendant in Sagittarius who is going through this lunar eclipse in their first house. Okay, so you are used to people telling you who you are, maybe not directly to your face, but a overuse of Sagittarius energy would be, let's say, a religious grandmother, or a religious, or someone with a really thick philosophy that tells you who you're supposed to be in your personality. And then the flip side of having this in your ascendant is that you may do this to other people, and you may not know it. You might have such a dogmatic approach to how you take action on a moralistic way of life that you don't allow yourself, other people around you, to be themselves and be who they are and express themselves. Because the North Node in Gemini is about self expression and communication through the arts, or through your psychic connection to your soul, you know. And so, with an excess of Sagittarius energy, you could be bogged down with, well, you know what? Don't do this, don't do that, don't talk like this, don't be like that. Let's move on to the second house, because we have 12 houses to do. Of course, we can go into more detail. But the second house is about your values, as you know. It's about money, yeah. But I really love reading the second house as what you value, what you like, what you've been taught by your family to value. And again, well, I say again because I have astrology lessons on my Patreon, and I'm saying again, but I said this in my video with my astrology lessons, that a lot of people don't know what they value. Some people are so caught up in being somebody they're not, for other people, that they don't know, like, what do I value. So you can tell what you value by like how you live your life. And if you're not being authentic, then you really don't know what you value. And so your family just might have taught you that in order to fit in into society, you have to be fake, or you have to have a lot of money, or you have to be a giver, or you have to, these are all second house values depending upon the planets that are in this house. But if you have Sagittarius in your second house, then you are super generous, and maybe to a fault. Maybe you give away your resources to your friends, and you leave yourself with nothing. And you expect people to give you back the energy in return, but they don't, you know? And so this would be you actually expressing your values through your money, through your possessions, in a way that you want to, and maybe releasing your friends to maybe go earn their own money and not have people mooching off of you or expecting for you to pick up the check every time you go out. Now, Sagittarius is a really not the easiest energy to read as far as like everyday life goes, because it's such a big planet. It's such a big energy. And it has to do with like really big vision and philosophy. So please bear with me as I try to bring that energy down to earth. All right, third house. So your third house Sagittarius South Node lunar eclipse energy. Uh, okay, so this is interesting because the North Node is in Gemini, and the third house is ruled by Gemini. So you have a really big voice, but have you been using it the way you want to, or the way that you're supposed to, according to the moralistic standards of your siblings or the people around you in your community? You know, do you just say the right thing so that you can have friends? Or are you being authentic and true to yourself? Now, this is an opportunity for you to release speaking in a way You know, you may be saying all the right things, but you might not be speaking from your soul. Okay, that's maybe your throat chakra needs some cleansing so that you can feel free to speak your mind. The Gemini is about your mind, and Sagittarius is about the higher self and the higher mind. Okay, all right. So the fourth house, that's me. This is what inspired me to make this video. The things that I'm releasing. So, Sagittarius, fourth house, lunar eclipse energy. This has to do with your mother, maybe your mothers, because the fourth house has to do with ancient feminine energy in your family, your ancestors, what your mothers have been passing on to you and have been passed on from generation to generation. And so, me personally, I have Neptune in my fourth house, as you guys know, if you've watched my Neptune in the fourth house video, that I had to share my personal life story because that energy is so real for me in my experience. Um, and so in my family, there's like this dogmatic sense of how to be a woman, right? Oh man, I'm about to cry. And so that energy, of course, is kind of inside of my energy. So how a religious dogmatic approach and how to be a woman will make you feel like you can't express anything else. If you're not attracting a man, that's how it is in my family. If you're not attracting a man, then you're not being a woman. If you if you're not and I don't for men with this energy, I guess it would be the same thing. If you're not being the man, if you're having the feminine people in your family, they're not if they're not like of higher consciousness and there's unhealed preaching going on, then you're being told how to be in your intimate space within yourself in the privacy of your it's like you don't have any privacy with who you are, how you are, and how you express yourself. Because the fourth house would be how you express yourself from like the most intimate spaces. And so this is an opportunity for you to release yourself and free yourself and be who you are and be the type of woman that you are or the type of man that you are, not who other people are telling you to be as in your gender role or in your intimate space and how you connect with people. So in this space, the people in your family aren't really concerned about connecting with each other for real. It's an ideal of how to be a family. It's not necessarily like everybody gets to be who they are. All right, moving on to the fifth house. Wow, which is really big energy. Jupiter and the sun, Jupiter in Vedic astrology is represented by the father, and the sun is represented by the father. I'm saying this because the fifth house is ruled by the sun in Leo. So you have this Sagittarius energy um, um, in lunar eclipse in the fifth house. How does that energy affect you? What are you releasing? Okay, so you don't have to protect and provide for everyone. It's like the energy that got put on you is that this is how you be a father. This is how you um, protect and provide. And this is the only way, you know. You don't really have an identity when it comes to like your creativity, your sexual energy. You may feel like it doesn't really belong to you. It belongs to the higher consciousness of whoever is giving that sermon to you in your life on how to live your life as far as your romantic life. And so you might have had an arranged dating life where your parents or your father pick the person that you date. Um, you may have had like no control really over who you get to be attracted to. You have to be attracted to someone who acts a certain way, who talks a certain way, who lives a certain way out in the open. And your family has to like them. Your father has to like them, or else you're going to catch hell. And so with Sagittarius energy, um, a lot of times there's no fight put up because the person is not wrong. They're not wrong, you know, but it just may not be really who you are. So therefore, it's not right for you. And that's the issue with Sagittarius energy in general. They're like they'll the a Sagittarian person will be called Mrs. Know It All, Mr. Know It All, because they're not wrong, but they may not be um, directly intimate with who you really are. They're just concerned about spiritual, higher minded freedom. Okay. Sixth house. The sixth house in Sagittarius will give your nervous system a run for its money. Wow. Okay, so this concerns your health and your everyday life. This is more like between you and yourself, but you have been told your whole life how to be healthy, you know, how to organize yourself, and how you are to, and what types of jobs that you're supposed to have. It's an ideal. It may not necessarily fit your body type or your sleeping patterns or what actually makes you feel like waking up in the morning and getting things done. But since it's the right way, you oblige. Since it's right, you oblige. So this is an opportunity for you to maybe go spend time in nature. Because I mean, with Sagittarius in the sixth house, you like spending time in nature. You don't mind meditation. You may not even mind reading your Bible every day if you're religious, you know? But you don't have to read the verses that other people have told you to read your whole life. Or maybe you can find your own religion that's more close to your soul. Maybe you're a Buddhist at heart and you would like to follow the yoga path, you know? And that would be up to you and your individuality. And you have a right to live that life. And you might catch flack if someone catches you not living up to the tradition of what the family does every day, you know, in order to stay balanced. But you know what? You're ready to release that and be your own person in this area. So the seventh house in Sagittarius, with this lunar eclipse with the south node there. Now you, my friend, take on the philosophy of your partner. Whoever you're with, that's what you believe. Whoever you're with, that's the religion you're in. Because you're willing to um, take on other people's belief systems for love. And you know, I don't really see anything wrong with that. But if it's clouding who you really are and your self-expression, then it's not right for you. And so it may be time for you to release that. Sagittarius in the eighth house, with the lunar eclipse and the south node there. This is the ultimate death. You know, the ultimate death of you definitely taking on your ancestors' spiritual, dogmatic belief system. You can't get away from it. It actually is your calling in life to go through this chaos and transmute this energy so that you can be free from it. It feels like imprisonment for you. Um, I mean, this is also the house maybe where you will find yourself being a preacher, being a spiritual teacher, and being a leader, but not without finding your own voice first. You don't, even if the church got passed down to you from your grandmother or grandfather, and this doesn't have to be a Christian church. It can just be, because I can kind of relate to this, where my ancestors are. It's like such a thick, shamanic ancestral energy, and everybody in my family wants me to do things the way that it has been done. And so me using my voice like this goes against like my family. Everybody's so secretive. Nobody opens up and shares anything. Well, maybe in your family, everything is so out in the open. You don't have any privacy when it comes to how you heal and maybe your mediumship and maybe your energies all has to always be open to the spirit world for some reason. And you would like some privacy, and you would like for your boundaries to be respected. And maybe the spiritual world in your family has been a lot of darkness and chaos, and you would like for it to be more love and light. You know, and so you're busy transmuting this energy, and you might feel like the ghost mafia is after you, and you want to break free. Now is your opportunity to break free and fast and pray and break free from the dark spirits that have plagued your ancestors for many, many eons. Interesting. Tell me how it goes. All right, so Sagittarius in the ninth house, South Node. Well, now Sagittarius is basically at home, and it basically feels like it's very comfortable, and it does not need to budge or move. Okay, but let's talk about it. Let's just say that this South Node Sagittarius at home energy wants to go through a transformation and release itself. You might find yourself moving countries or moving cities or moving states or moving away from your place of residence, changing careers, changing courses, changing course when it comes to your higher mind. Maybe you find that you've outgrown and you know everything there is to know in the way of life that you've been living. And now it's time for you to challenge yourself because maybe you're too comfortable. Let's look at that Sagittarius energy in the 10th house lunar eclipse. I feel like I'm doing horoscopes. All right. Oh, okay. So it's always interesting for me to talk to people who have 10th house in Sagittarius because I always try to guess their career. I'm rarely am I right, but I'm touching on it. The last person I talked to who had Sagittarius in the 10th house, I was like, are you do you travel for a living? He was like, well, I'm part of an MLM marketing, so I do travel, but I'm not traveling for a living, but I travel as part of my job. Okay, so if you have the South Node here, well, the South Node energy, lunar eclipse energy going on here, then the changes for you, everybody always has such an interesting, challenging time when they feel like there's about to be a shakeup in their career because they're not sure if the universe is going to like make them homeless or penniless or something like that. No, it's just a change in career, and it could even be like a promotion because Sagittarius is, let's not forget, no matter what placement you put it in, it's optimistic good luck, you know? And so maybe you have a different philosophy than your boss, and your boss or the people you work for have been forcing their philosophy on you, or your family has forced a philosophy on you as to what type of job you are supposed to work. Traditionally in the family, this is what you guys have done. This is how you guys have done it. And so maybe you want to release yourself from that dogmatic ideal of the career you should live in, or the job you should have, or maybe the place that you're in within the company that you're in you would like to expand, or you would like to downgrade. Either way, this is your opportunity to be more true to yourself and what you would like to do as far as a career. Now, these it's probably going to be bigger than I'm making it out to be. Maybe it's like a complete overhaul and you do want to go and be a nomad, because I believe that uh people choose a lot of times people choose jobs that are safe, but they put in a little bit, a sprinkle of salt of what who they actually are. It's especially if you have a big planet like Jupiter. So maybe the guy I was talking to, he wanted to really travel for a living, but to play it safe for his family, he joined an MLM company. We'll see. Maybe I'll ask him to see what happens after this eclipse, because this energy tends to take place over like a 3 to 6 month period. All right, 11th house. Ooh, friends. So you whatever friendship group you're in, you basically, to in order to stay comfortable, take on their belief system. Relationship houses are easy to read when it comes to this for me. Other houses are a bit more challenging. Um, but yeah, your friends, whatever they believe, you're like me too. You're like Mr. Me Too. So it's time for you to start actually challenging the status quo in your friendship groups, and maybe and tell the truth. You don't believe everything everyone says, or you don't want to do everything that everybody else wants you to do. You know, you're your own person, and sometimes you might ruffle feathers, and sometimes it'll have to be uncomfortable. And maybe you might be changing friendship groups altogether, and you realize you don't really enjoy. You're not having much fun anymore in your friendship group, and everyone has just been a dogmatic tyrant. And maybe you've become one of them, and you've drank the Kool-Aid, and you're like, I don't want to be like this. Who is this person? You're like part of the plastics or something. I don't know. It could be the spiritual plastics though. Who knows? Um, and you're like, you can't sit with us. If you're not this, and you're not like this, you're not like this, then you can't sit with us. And you're like, girl, then I'm not sitting with you then. Peace. That's how you do that. It's just that simple. But you know, when these energies come into play, maybe it isn't that simple for you. And this is something that really weighs you down, and needles at your belief system and who you are and your identity. So blessings to you if you are brave to break free from that pattern. 12th house, last house. All right, 12th house, Sagittarius. Ooh, interesting. Um, um, lunar eclipse, South Node. So, my friend, you are a guru, or Gorvi. It's a female shaman. Um, Transmuting energy across the universe and the cosmos. And this reminds me, for some reason, Doreen Virtue came into mind. Now, I'm not a big follower of Doreen Virtue. I don't have any of her oracle decks. Maybe, yes, I do. I have. I have the one that is discontinued that I see on sale for like $800 now. The Romance Angel card deck. All right, and so she was all up in the angels in the spirit world. She has a million oracle decks, and then she switched over to Jesus, and that was like a big deal last year or a couple of years ago, to where she's like, I no longer believe in anything that I've been doing, which I think is interesting. I'm like, you go, girl. Okay, you know what I'm saying? It's extreme. It's a bit much, but she was willing to, in front of the whole world, because she is a world figure. Because I see the 12th house as being, as someone being connected to mass consciousness with Neptune energy. The world needs to hear what your philosophy is. But maybe the world has been dictating your philosophy instead of you being in touch with your own philosophy. And maybe you've been being somebody you're not in order to fit in with the world so that you don't have to stand out. I don't know. I could be wrong. Interpretations of how I see these energies lived out. Again, this is not the easiest thing for me to try to interpret because I love Sagittarius energy, and me seeing the negative side of it isn't like my thing. But you guys share your experiences with me because even though these energies are hitting the fan today, the shadow of these energies have already been released weeks ago. So I appreciate you guys for joining me on my channel. Again, please check out my podcast and take a listen. I promise it'll keep getting better as I have more practice just sitting there running my mouth about things that I'm passionate about. And I plan on doing meditations and like healing sessions on my podcast for people who just like to have something in their ear that is helping them on their shamanic journey. I love you guys. Thank you so much for allowing me to be me here on earth at this time. Peace to you. Bye for now. Did you know for me enough? Did you know what it really